Hey, welcome to my little corner of the world over to you. I have a wonderful guest this morning, and he's going to join us right from Duluth, Minnesota. So let's get him up. His name is Ross Thorn. How are you doing this morning? Are you up in Minnesota today?
I am, yeah. I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm a bit jealous of those people who are up north. I don't think you get the heat and humidity quite like we do here in the southeast US.
Oh God, no. Yeah, it's right now it's as hot and humid as it gets here, but it's nowhere near what you get.
Yeah, I was drenched this morning. I was like, oh my God, I can't stand this. I'm like so jealous of people up north. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. So, life
So
in
I love it.
Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So, how's it going up there? It's been a great summer for you so far?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, weather's been good. We're dealing with some smoke from wildfires right now, but and other than that, weather's been good. I live on the lake, the big lake, Lake Superior, so it's always nice to go down there and just have a huge beach day.
Yeah, that's nice. You could actually enjoy summer there. Your 10,000 lakes and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
the wildfires, yeah, that's up now. It's always seems to be happening up in Canada. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from now. It's always in a different area of Canada.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure myself. But yeah, the whatever it is, the smoke makes its way towards Minnesota or upper Midwest, and yeah, we get some air quality warnings from that.
Yeah, I knew people in Ohio a few years ago were
Mm,
dealing with that, and somehow it just wafts on down. Yeah,
yeah.
and especially the Northeast. It's pretty crazy how that
Mm-hmm.
happens. But wow, yeah, you could smell that. We've had that here in the Southeast as well. Sometimes, like in Florida, sometimes there'd be wildfires, and somehow it would waft from south to north. It was very, very unusual. Doesn't
Yeah.
happen much. Yeah. Awesome. So, as far as like music's going, are you keeping busy performing live throughout your area there?
Yeah, I'm kind of keeping summer a little bit chill because I've got my album release and a tour in August out west. So I'm and having an album release show here in Duluth. So trying to prepare for that without, making the schedule too jam packed for my sanity, really.
And it's hard work and people don't, I mean, y'all make it look fun and easy and all that, but there's exhaustion with that, with the
Oh
amount
yeah.
of, carrying things around, using vans, planes, trains, automobiles, just
Yeah,
going all over the place. So yeah, that's fun. It's the labor of love and all of that, but it's quite a haul too when you're going from one gig to the next.
totally. Yeah. And so like you said, it make people make it look fun. Social media makes everything look like it's
Yeah.
better than it actually is. And the life of a musician is really just sending a lot of emails and maybe you get time to write music and play songs.
It's so true. I mean, like, and
Hmm.
I'm sure these people who are boomers and older, Gen Xers as well, but like, it's like we didn't have to do this back in the day. Gosh, it's like now you have
Hmm.
all these other components. You got to compete on social media, got to get on TikTok, Instagram, all of those, Facebook, every one of those, just to
Yeah.
try to get that out there. You put so much work into that. And it's
Hmm.
like, hey, wait a minute, what about the craft?
Yeah, and I feel like it's easy for me to lose sight of that sometimes, but I feel like there's a lot of musicians too that find themselves becoming content creators, quote unquote, um, in a way that's like doesn't seem fulfilling to me. Like you'll look at some of their reels on Instagram or on TikTok, and their most shared things are things that are like not related at all to their music, and it like gets them in front of more people, but then people kind of just view them probably as like meme creators, and that's about it.
Yeah, it seems to get lost in that. And it
Mm-hmm.
almost seems like, okay, yeah, on one hand it's kind of a requirement because you got to get yourself out there. Nobody knows who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it's like, well, this isn't music, but you're thinking it's going to drive people to the music. But I would be afraid that it would kind of get lost in the shuffle. It's like, yeah, like you said, you're kind of a meme creator. It's
Yeah. And maybe it does, like maybe for some folks it does, but I feel like any evidence I see, and I had like a song that was sort of like meme go viral, and it didn't really do much for my music and arts aspect of my career. Like I could have been kept making like meme songs, and I think that comedic music's really cool. But it's not really what I guess what drives me. And so
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
which
weird
brings me,
world.
yeah, it brings me to that. The new release here in August, early August of 2025, as we're speaking, fitting in
Hmm.
is the new release. And that standout track we were talking about, the World Wide Web, the internet, you have a tune on there called Internet Blues, which really
Yeah.
taps into all of this.
Yeah, it's it's like almost directly inspired by all that stuff. And growing up on the internet and online gaming and all these sorts of things, like I always really embraced the internet. And I think it's because it was still kind of new, even though I was born in 94,
Oh, yeah.
but like it was constantly around. My parents didn't really know how to use it, so it was kind of like cool frontier for me to embrace. And at this point, like I'm like kind of just turning away from it more. I'm taking my music off of Spotify, and I'm as there's just AI everywhere and mostly bots interacting on social media. I'm just kind of getting tired of
I know.
of that.
Yeah, it's a World Wide Web fatigue. It's just too
Hmm.
much. Yeah, back in '94, and it's moved so fast since you were born.
Hmm.
I remember around that year I got my first Mac at a place called Circuit City,
Yeah, nice.
which became a doorstop within maybe 3 years
Sure.
because things took off so fast after that.
Yeah,
And it was, and this goes way back then. In '94, people had 2,400 baud modems. So you would like have to, it would just take forever for things to
yeah.
download. It's by leaps and bounds well over 30 years now. It's incredible, but it's impacted music. And I remember clearly the days of Napster and how
Hmm.
that really affected things. And they thought, oh yeah, we've crushed Napster. No worries here. And oh my gosh. I mean, who would have thought things like Spotify, Apple Music, the way it's all become so digitized and so in
Hmm.
your hands and convenient, but there are a lot of
Yeah.
downsides.
Yeah. And like, yeah, because that convenience is a double-edged sword where like people now think that music is free and that you can just get it whenever you want and it's just for you as the listener without really much consideration for the artists who are trying to make a living. So like things like Spotify that pay like less than pennies per play,
Oh,
is like kind of I think hurting like the arts ecosystem with how we think about how we interact with art.
yeah, that's sad. It's really
Hmm.
sad. It just gets more and more sad for musicians. And so many people want to do it, but like then again, people might be thinking, well, why do I have to learn all this when like I could have AI machines do my guitar and bass and
Yeah,
drums. Why do I even need to learn? And so I worry about places like Guitar Center and these kind of places. I did a
sure.
story a couple of years ago. This guy who makes his own cigar box guitars, which is really
Okay,
cool.
cool.
He jammed with Ozzy Osbourne. They were in Ozzy and Jack's travel show back on A&A.
Okay.
Really, really fun guy. But like I was thinking about this. Here's a guy who's manufacturing these guitars. And yeah, I kind of tied it into how places like Guitar Center were gonna suffer because people are like, why bother? AI's coming in. It's now gonna be like, it can almost write my songs.
Yeah.
Depressing.
Yeah, and we're seeing that and like with Spotify, like there was some news recently of this AI generated band called the Velvet Sundown, which is like you go all their pictures are AI generated band, their music is AI generated and like really hollow from like
Oh, jeez.
yeah, it's really funny and sad and scary. They have like this retro throwback sound and they're like on like some 60s anti-war sounding playlists or something. And then also at the same time, Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, is like investing in, AI military tech.
Oh my
So it's just
gosh.
like, what the hell is going on?
Is anybody going to have a job in the future? I really worry
Right.
about that. It's like all the robots and AI are going to do everything. And even
Hmm.
with musicians, I mean, like everything, deliveries, robots are going to be driving the Amazon trucks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, Oh, it's
It's
just
in the
such.
worst way, like, because like ideally we're like, cool, but you can take away the really poor, the bad parts of like work or some really dangerous things or something like that. But now people are just sort of willfully offloading their creative thought to a machine rather than be like, oh, I can think about this, or maybe I can just learn this. Like I like to dabble in graphic design and make my posters and make my graphics and stuff, and I really enjoy it, and it's fun and it's a struggle, but like you get to learn and you get to get better rather than be like, generate this for me, and then like a wrinkle in my brain starts to smooth out because I am, not really working it anymore.
Right. The brains are going to become kind of like melons in the future,
Hmm.
I think, because you say, "Hey, generate my poster for this tour or my
Yep.
album cover," and it's like there used to be work that went into those kind of
Yeah.
things.
And then it's like, AI, say good morning to my wife for me.
I
Like
don't
all
think do
sorts of things.
anything. It's
Yeah.
crazy. What AI can't do, I don't think can do right now is the yodeling that you're doing on this track, Internet Bliss. I don't think it can steal that away from you. That's
Yeah,
really incredible.
thank you. I'm not really a yodeler, but like, I was really I grew up on the soundtrack of like Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Ah,
We were
yeah,
listening to that all
yeah.
the time, and like I was really channeling um the Soggy Bottoms boys when they're like in there, and one of the Tim Blake Nelson, is that his full name, the actor? He like
That's
takes his
yeah.
hand off of his or hat off of his head, and then like it just gives his heart out yodeling, and I was like, that's exactly what I'm trying to do
It's
here.
great. It's great. It's an internet blues. It's just
Hmm.
yeah, really your standout track here. But how long did it take you to put this project together?
Oh man, a while. So back in 2023, I won a grant here in Duluth that the band Trampled by Turtles puts on. And so I got to open for them, and then it came with some days of recording time. And at the time, like I had just released my first album, and I was like, and it can't, yeah, with the studio time, I talked to the studio person at Pachyderm Studios in Cannon Falls. Nick is his name. Um, and I was like, I have no songs because like we were talking about before, where like most of my time after completing an album is spent sending emails and working on these mixes, and I haven't had any creative time or energy to like put into something new. So I was like, give me like a year and maybe I'll have some more stuff. So it kind of took a year to write some of those tunes. Um, and then even up until recording in November of 24, I was still working on some of the tunes and writing some new ones, but we were in the studio itself for like 4 days, and then like the weekend before had the band kind of come together in a cabin, and we just kind of jammed and hung out to kind of coalesce around the project. So um yeah, and then since then I recorded one other tune on there. The Midwestern Goodbye is the name of the tune, A Midwestern Goodbye. And that was after the fact, and that took a little bit, but that yeah, so it's kind of like been spread across all of these months and whatnot. But
Yeah,
yeah,
good track, mournful and very lovely as they described a Midwestern Goodbye, which is
yeah,
one of those, you have that placed in the album. And I love the order, because people just don't really even think about order in the albums.
yeah,
And you have this cohesive 10 track, thematic, and getting a lot into the personal things too.
yeah.
It's just really woven together very nicely that way. But one
Thank
of
you.
your definitely standout tracks, and you have a great cast of characters in this too with your band and some people who have worked on the recordings with you. Very heavy on the violins. And I really appreciate that. You could feel that folky, country-ish feel to
Yeah.
it. That's Cassandra Sotos, who
Yep. Cassandra
definitely gets a
Sotos.
shout out here.
Yeah. No, she's wonderful and great to work with, and always does a killer job. On my first record, we actually had a song that like she was warming up to do it on violin, and then I was like just sobbing because it was so beautiful, and I was so tired, and I was like feeling everything. And then so then we added a violin reprise of that tune. It was called Gravedigger's Son and Gravedigger's Rest. But yeah, so she was great. We really leaned string band because I picked up banjo in the past. It's been 2 years now I've been playing banjo. So I wrote a bunch of banjo tunes, and when I was started to learn that, I was like plateauing with guitar, and then it sort of kind of unlocked something for me. So yeah, the fiddle, the banjo, upright bass, and acoustic guitar sort of just all kind of came together for that classic folk sound.
Yeah, it's throughout the entire thing. And you have
Hmm.
one, purely instrumental track on there,
Hmm.
First Class Wagon. It's just
Hmm.
that's placed very nicely too within the set too. So you just like, oh, I get this straight on instrumental. Was
Yeah,
that totally planned, or I mean, it's not just filler. I mean, this is really nicely placed within the project.
thanks. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely not like, especially First Class Clown Wagon, like there's a clown aesthetic to this whole thing. Like the album artwork too has me in a tintype in the center of it. Um, and with an illustrated everything around it. So, and I'm dressed as a clown. So yeah, it's an intentional song, an intentional placement. We were kind of going back and forth on where to actually put it, but um, yeah, it's a fun one.
And your first single's already out in advance of the album. Starts
Yeah,
with a whistler. That is your opening track.
yeah,
Yeah, it really kicks it off. Baby, that's all I need. It's
yeah, yeah. It's a sweet little tune. That's the oldest tune on the record, and it's very John Prine meets Roger Miller, but specifically like the rooster from Robin Hood, the Disney's Robin Hood cartoon, when he's whistling and playing the tunes and stuff like that, and narrating the story. So yeah, that's I really enjoy that tune.
yeah, it does has that John Prine kind of feel to that. I'm a
Hmm.
worm in the grass. I'm the
Hmm.
moss in the tree. It's just
Hmm.
yeah, I love those little pieces of the lyric. It just
Yeah, thanks.
really really goes around very well. Now, have you done some of these live already in advance of the recording? Just sometimes some artists will do that just to
Yeah.
get the audience feel if they're getting it.
Yep. Yeah. So, and specifically with Baby That's All I Need, I wrote that one shortly after recording my first record. And so and I didn't have a lot of original songs, so I was just playing basically anything that I've written at that point. So um there's actually a live recording of the tune already at a theater show that I did with my brother, who Garrett Thorn. He's also a musician too. So um yeah, so I've been playing them out. Last year went on a little tour as well and played some of them as I was, getting better at banjo and trying to sharpen my banjo performance.
Yeah, you've been playing there, and I think I've seen some stuff up on YouTube too. You were in Eagle River,
Hmm.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Looked like a really nice venue for and acoustic wise too. It looks really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. That's like near our hometown. We grew up near Rhinelander, Eagle River area in Wisconsin, which is like far north. Um, but yeah, so we put on like a little brothers theater show, and raised some money for like the arts department at the school, Northland Pines High School. So, um, yeah, it was a beautiful show, great summer. Um, yeah, a good year really
Yeah,
for our music, and we both came out with that was the year we both came out with our first like solo records.
nice musical family. So growing up
Yeah.
in Minnesota, your parents were into music. Did they encourage that? Obviously, they had to
Yeah,
have had a very positive influence.
totally. Yeah, and growing up in Wisconsin, actually, we were is where we grew up, and yeah, my grandma had a karaoke bar, and so we were going there all the time, and it was like on a lake, so we'd go swimming in the summer, and then like
Hmm.
walk over, and she'd make us some food, and we'd sing some karaoke, and we were involved with church choirs, like so many people in our family are singers, so yeah.
Oh, it really gets handed down. Yeah, the apples
Hmm.
not falling far from the trees there,
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
So going through school, did you get formal lessons? Was this a lot of playing by ear? Did you learn to read music?
Yeah, yeah. We did piano lessons as kids, and I didn't like it. I wasn't as passionate about it as much as I'd probably, now everyone I think kind of regrets dropping off piano lessons when they get older.
Everybody does. Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, at the time I wasn't motivated. Put on these
Yeah,
records. I just parodied what was going on there. I wasn't really.
yeah, yeah. And so I mean, I'm one of them. I'm one of those folks who kind of like, oh man, I wish I would have stuck with it longer. Wish I would have, done a little bit more with theory or something. But like, I had enough years of that, and then I like did band in high school, middle school, and high school. and I was like, I actually played drums, and I was the only like percussionist that I think could like really read notes, and so I was always like playing like the xylophone or something like that.
Hmm.
As much as I wanted to play like the drum kit and like actually like play like a rock and beat type of thing, but um, yeah. So then, but around that time, I was like teaching myself guitar. My brother was kind of learning at the same time too, so we were kind of just jamming and figuring it out. Got some really cheap guitars and noodling around on them. And I started writing songs like in high school and early college.
Good. And where did you go to college?
Stevens Point, Wisconsin. It's a D3 state school, and then I did grad school in Madison, Wisconsin.
All in Wisconsin. So, would had you jumped the next day over to Minnesota?
Yeah, my partner got a job up here. We were kind of looking to kind of change scenery a little bit, but not too much, and stay close to home. Kind of a little bit, to stay closer to our parents if they needed us for anything. So yeah. So Minnesota and Wisconsin, like I'm not into sports and people are that's like the thing is like, like the Packers versus the Vikings or whatever. And so I couldn't care less about sports. Um and so like and in
Understandable.
yeah, with that respect, like it's so similar. Like the culture is basically the same. We're all like Midwestern folks and yeah.
Yeah, that's it's just the culture up there. It's with the pro sports teams. Here in the Southeast US, it's with the college football
Oh,
teams.
yep, that makes
It's
sense.
oh my gosh, it's just total religion. It's like I just don't care about anything that's
Yeah.
people are hitting a ball, catching a ball. I like cycling and running. It's
Nice,
like
nice.
I don't get the whole pickleball or tennis thing either. Like
Sure.
I think you
Yeah,
gotta hit the
pickleball's
ball.
taken over.
Oh my God. I hear people getting injured too doing that. I'm like, I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, with a wiffle ball. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like I like to play sports and I played a little college basketball and I played high school basketball too. And like I think they're fun and they're a good time, but also yeah, when it gets to pro sports and the pro sports uh I guess industry, I think there's a lot that's like I roll my eyes too maybe.
Yeah, yeah, and it is it's a money game, and always the bigger
Yeah.
markets typically. I mean, no, I get interested in like the World Series or the Super Bowl, even if like a real underdog got in there. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah,
root for them because it's such a money game. It's usually the big moneyed teams that win the
totally.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very disappointing that way. But yeah,
Yeah.
music's a whole different other thing. Sometimes it meshes. I mean, hey, people play halftime at the Super Bowl. It's like
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
so it kind of gets in there. But yeah, so going through there and how long have you been in Minnesota now?
About 7 years now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really conducive place to be inspired and to create, like as if, Prince was the big thing there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And the history of music in the Midwest and in Minnesota specifically too is, there's Bob Dylan, there's Prince, lots of great bands from around the cities and in Duluth and great artists. And particularly too, one thing that like you don't really hear about unless you're on the art scene like in Minnesota is that like the state funding for grants for artists is like so great. Like it's like tenfold any neighboring states that they put towards their arts communities and like grants and artists and funding. Um, it's kind of astronomical compared to that. So like it's really great to be able to be in a state that cares about that and like puts their money where their mouth is. Like we like to support the arts and we like to support our artists. So it's a really great state to be inspired and to like actually fiscally uh, sustain being an artist.
Yeah, that's very true about Minnesota. It's much different than a lot of these other states. It's
Hmm.
lucky to be there in that sense as
Yeah.
well, really supporting the arts. So your band and everybody who you got together, do you have like long, deep roots with the people who especially have played on this latest project?
Yeah, so some of them, so my brother lives in Nashville, and some of them, like Cassandra and Clark, who played bass and helped produce the record, they're all in Nashville. And I met them through my brother playing. music down there once in a while and just hanging out. So they played on my first record as well. But then they came up for this particular recording. And then Ian and Jacob, they're both Duluthians, so they're on bands around here and play a lot of music full time. So, and I kind of wanted to make sure to bring some local folks, with me and to connect with some old friends, and had a couple other folks sit into the Spine Stealers from Madison, Laura Sellner from Duluth, and Kyle Orla from Duluth as well.
Yeah, so on these tracks, Jacob Mahan is
Hmm.
really giving it up there on What's Up With You
Yeah,
and giving him the spotlight there. A little bit slower, great guitar picking with harmonies,
yeah.
very sweet track. So it's nice that you give them the space. And then definitely with the Spine Stealers, it's just really far and away. I mean, far away is like this track really features some amazing vocals, and
Hmm.
it's just so great that you're giving them on your solo record some space to people who are in your band and really treating it as if this is a collaborative effort.
Yeah, totally. And especially with What's Up With You, because that's actually Jacob actually wrote that song. And so I asked him if I could, like cut it for this record, and then I'd want to him to sing it with me because it's really like supposed to have that sort of like two guys sitting on a porch vibe and just kind of talking and connecting. And so I was really grateful, yeah, like collaborative across the board where he wrote it, let me do it. But then yeah, so it's really nice. It's a really special song. And yeah, for Far Away, like the Spine Stealers, I've been a huge fan of theirs for a couple years now, and they're friends of mine. We're going on tour in August out west together. And yeah, Emma, who sings lead on that, her voice is just insane.
Yeah.
Really, really ethereal and spooky and so
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So how often do you see Garrett? He's in Nashville. I'm sure he's busy. That's a great music community. I speak with
Yeah.
a lot of people from Nashville.
Yeah, a couple times a year we talk a lot. One of the benefits of the internet
Yeah,
is that you can
seriously.
stay connected with people who are far ways away. So, yeah, he's been busy though too. He's cutting another solo record this year, so or early next year or something. He's constantly busy with kind of establishing his life down there. He's been there for 10 years now though, so and then yeah, keeping at it.
Really supportive community. I know people there who are just in all around the industry. This is like totally getting away from Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York, where
Mm-hmm.
it's just really competitive. And seems to me like, yeah, it's genteel. People are really supportive. It's not this crazy cutthroat culture. So I'm sure he's thriving.
Yeah, and I think there's probably pockets, like in Nashville from what I experienced of it, like there's a little bit of something for everybody and you got to just find it a little bit. There is probably, especially like the downtown scene is probably a little bit more cutthroat type of thing, but you can find community and like the people, like Cassandra and Clark who I met through him, like you can find pockets of really good people who are supportive.
Yeah. So I'm gonna release this as we're speaking, probably around the time you're releasing your album, but you seem to be probably excited about your performance, which will be at locally there in Duluth. You're gonna,
Hmm.
I suppose, premiere a lot of those songs, which is August 6th, 2025 at Bent Paddle
Hmm.
Brewing in Duluth. Sounds like a really nice place. So Duluth does sounds like a nice, does it have like a quaint, nice little downtown where your place like Bent Paddle is at?
Yeah, well, Bent Paddle's not downtown, but yeah, there is. It's kind of a weird city. There's like two park or like there's the downtown area, a couple little neighborhoods that have some decent venues, and this one is in Lincoln Park, and it's a little bit more walkable, and really nice though. Yeah, but yeah, like as far as like the scene goes and stages and sound folks, like Bent Paddle is a brewery, and they do a lot for having good community accessible music. So it's going to be a free show so that as many people can come to it as possible, and yeah, debuting a lot of these songs and full banding it, and it'll be great.
Which I
Really looking
think a
forward
nice
to it.
little sing along would be Pick a D Day.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
Really, really folksy. Now, this harkens back to all the folk people who I grew up with, the Peter, Paul, and Marys and people like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's just something that could have been out of that movie. I don't know if you ever saw A Mighty Wind.
Oh
Uh,
no, I didn't.
it's kind of like you familiar with the Christopher Guest movies like This Is Spinal Tap?
Yes,
And as
yes.
kind
Mm-hmm.
of he did this thing, he explored the through his lens the world of folk music.
Okay.
It was about these fictional folk bands and
That's fun.
acts.
Yeah, I'll
It's,
have to. I'm gonna
I love
write that
it.
down because that sounds really good.
You have to see it. A Mighty Wind.
A mighty
And
wind. Okay,
Harry Shearer, this wonderful comedian, is in it. It's so good. It's it
writing it
definitely
down.
A Mighty Wind by Christopher Guest, who's just this genius. And yeah, he did Spinal Tap and a few other films. Best in Show, where he was doing a thing about dog competitions,
Oh
like the
gosh.
Westminster Dog Show. It was like a parody, a skew.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
hysterical.
that's
Really,
great.
really funny stuff.
And
Pickady
now,
Day. Yeah, great
yeah.
song.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, that'll be a fun one. And I think it's pretty melodic. And that like little catchy chorus type of thing is definitely something that people can get to. Um, yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, really great. And when you go through the album, it's just it's got many great tracks, but your most personal is your title track, Fitting In, which I
Mm-hmm.
think now this kind of thing and this kind of goes in with the whole theme of the project is like the whole idea of fitting in
Mm-hmm.
and you explore that. It's a nice long closing track to the
Yeah.
album.
Yeah, I didn't intend it to be that long. It was I didn't it's almost 8 minutes and I didn't
Yeah.
set out to write an 8 minute song and I think if I did I would have failed miserably if I tried to do that. But yeah, it was like that was one of the tracks that wasn't done by the time we went to the studio, but I knew I wanted it to be the title track and to have the whole project named after that. So I was, I'm the themes of it are surrounding, like you said, fitting in and not fitting in. Really, it's more about how I don't typically fit in. And I'm a very large person. You can't see it because I'm sitting down and we're on a screen, but I'm 6'8".
Oh,
So like, if I walk through that doorway, if I'm like on the up step, I will hit my
uh,
head type of thing. And I'm
wow.
like, yeah, right. And I'm constantly reminded of, that fact that my body is not normal, quote unquote, that it's, the rest of the world is not built to my specifications. Whether it's like I go to a bathroom and I look in the mirror and I literally can't see my own face unless I like crouch down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot to wrestle with and it's like people think it's mostly a great thing to be really tall. And in a lot of, I think in sports, like we said, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. In
Really great
sports.
for, yeah. But outside of that, like I have to pay extra to get a seat that I'm not in pain in on an airplane. I have to get
Wow.
preferred seating type of thing, and people think that that's a luxury, but it's sort of just a necessity for me. Uh, so yeah, it's like trying to grapple with a lot of that stuff um, as I move through life and show kind of empathy and like not only to show that side, but also to in solidarity with other folks and other
Hmm.
different identities that like are on the margins of society and society constantly reminds them that they're not quote unquote normal. There's lots of us who are not quote unquote normal and that's you know
Yeah.
it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think it's hard growing up. It really is. We had when I grew up, I had a friend who was 6'5" by the time I think he was in fifth grade.
Oh gosh.
And me and my friends were young movie makers, and
Nice.
one of the movies we always put him in it. In a lot of the movies we did as like the Jaws type character who you'd see in James Bond. I don't know if you've seen
Yep.
that franchise, but
Mm-hmm.
the Jaws character in those movies, we kind of like said he was perfect for that, and I was like the kind of the lead, and he'd be tossing me around and stuff like that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean. It was very, it's tough growing up. And kids, the 70s and 80s, they were so cruel. They really
Sure.
were. And
Yeah.
it affects you so much of your life. And I think in more recent years, we've become so much more aware of, like everybody's different. We should embrace what we have. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
that's really important. And this is the kind of the theme through what writers like you are doing is just
Yeah.
like it's okay, we're we're all different,
Hmm. Totally.
completely fine. So putting this together, did you do a lot of overdubs? You went to studio there in Minnesota?
Yeah. So Pachyderm Studios, in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, it's a pretty like fabled place. Like Nirvana recorded In Utero there.
Hmm.
And there's like lots of other big projects there, but that's sort of like one of the flagship ones. And it was great. Nick, who is the main engineer there and sort of manages the studio, is such a great engineer. He's like literally just an angel, and is so talented. But the room is really set up for great live recording. So we did mostly live recordings, and like trying to fit that like string band vibe. Like we tried a couple different things of like let's separate and let's see how we sound. If we're a little bit more isolated, but we can hear each other. And then what we ended up sort of just gravitating for towards like the instrumental track is like let's play around these old one mics, and then like just feel it out, play it together. So, um, yeah, limited overdubs, but mostly live takes, which is
Hmm.
really fun and kind of a challenge, especially compared to my last record, which was uh mostly overdubs and like kind of systematically, foundationally laid. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, sounds like fun. I have to ask this one track called "I Lost My Voice in My Accordion."
Yeah.
Did that really even happen?
No, no, yeah. So the full title of that is a mouthful. It's I lost my voice in my accordion, but I still know how to polka. Um, and being from Wisconsin is like polka is like everywhere.
Uh,
And like I grew up in a really like a small Polish town. And so like polka is at every single wedding. There's a polka, like the Catholic Church has a polka mass, you know. So I didn't I have an accordion and I can't really play it, but it's more of like I wanted to write a funny polka. I think polkas are just such silly songs and they get away with it really well. And it's sort of inspired by the accordion that I do have. My mom and I were berry picking one time, and we can't like there was another guy. He was an older man who was there, and he was also berry picking. And then like we got to talking a little bit, and he pulled out this accordion out of his trunk and like played a polka, and like my mom and I like danced in like and I was like, this is so surreal. Like, is this guy even real, or is he some sort of like mythical fairy creature? And then like he was trying to sell it, and so my mom bought it from him, and so I have that same accordion in our
oh
basement.
wow.
And yeah, I was like, I still don't know if that was real to this day. It's like the Lady of the Lake giving Excalibur. It's sort of the same thing, except for I still don't know how to use the accordion. I can't play it very well.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
It's a very special thing. I kind of grew up with some of that. I grew up in Cleveland, and on
Oh, sure.
Cleveland's, I was on the east side, but the west side had more of your Polish folks over
Mm.
there. And I think the ABC affiliate, back in the 60s and 70s, they had a show called Polka Varieties.
Mm.
So it tells you something about that area because I
Yeah.
was kind of familiar with some of that stuff. Yeah, kind of, because people like that settled in the Midwest. There was, the Industrial Revolution, and
Hmm.
it's why a lot of us were there, and a lot of us left because a lot of things faded up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, wow, what a different world up there.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
it's yeah. So there's deep Polish roots and deep German roots, and both of them really like to polka, and and so yeah, I was kind of inspired just by that, and growing up and my grandma having Big Joe's polka show on like on Sundays and
Yeah.
watching that on TV. So yeah,
I'm sure. Wow, that's wild. Yeah, good old Minnesota. Well, cool. So you're definitely getting out there, hitting the West Coast. What cities are you hitting over there?
yeah. So when we leave Duluth, then we play on our way out to the West Coast. We play in Missoula, Montana,
Oh,
and
okay,
then
that's out west.
Yep, yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on the
Okay.
way.
On the
It's
way to the
man, it's
coast.
yep. And then we'll hit up Seattle,
Cool.
Eugene, Oregon, Portland,
Ooh.
Oregon, and then start making our way back via Salt Lake City, a couple towns in Colorado, Silver Plume, Denver, and Fort Collins, and then we end in southern Wisconsin, Madison and Milwaukee.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
You
it'll
can
be a
take a
good little
trip like
run.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in the summertime. I think that's a
Hmm.
great way to, I mean, I know it can get hot and dry out there too sometimes, but I just, a way to escape the heat at this time of the year. It's just, be nice to go up to Seattle.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping that too, that it'll be kind of nice, a little bit cooler. Yeah, we'll see how we fare in Salt Lake City, which I hear gets pretty darn hot in the summer. So
Yeah, it's a dry heat, but it's still
yeah.
hot. It's still hot.
Yeah.
I've been in Vegas when it was like, yeah, oh yeah, it's in triple digits, but it's a dry heat. I was like, I'm still baking out
Yeah,
here.
right. You can say it's dry all you want, but I am sweating my ass off.
Exactly. Well, thanks for dropping by. It's a pleasure. Best wishes. Hopefully, I'd love to see you come down here to the Atlanta area, but yeah, I know
Yeah.
that's tough to do. Lots of travel. It can get kind of pricey.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see. I'm looking at some things for next year just to see what kind of because I'd love to make it out east. I got some friends who play music like in North Carolina and stuff like that. So maybe
Hmm.
kind of do this like little loop or something. Um,
Yeah, they'd love to see you at Eddie's Attic. I keep promoting that kind of place. It's a small club in Decatur, Georgia.
oh, cool.
Those kind
Nice.
of your kind of acts like a lot of folk musicians play there. It's
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
really great venue. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. I really had a great time speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Take care. Have a good
All
one.
right.
Best
You
wishes.
too.
Bye bye.